Austin Metcalf's funeral is this weekend. And unfortunately, as his grieving family prepares and plans his funeral arrangements, they're having to deal with a hateful mob of the most vile and racist people you could think of, spreading hateful lies about their son. But even though they're the target of all this hate, they haven't said a word. They've been sitting by quietly, just taking it all. But you want to know who isn't sitting by quietly? Karmelo Anthony's family. They're not sitting by silently. No, they got a lot to say, and they are playing the victim. They have come out and they have played the race card. They have come out and they say that they're the target of all the hate. But most of the hate I'm seeing is directed at the Metcalf family. But Karmelo Anthony's family, they're not sitting by silently like the Metcalf family. No, they're already making this entire situation all about them. I mean, honestly, you would think that Karmelo Anthony was the victim in this situation. If you look at a lot of the talk online, if you look at the way a lot of people are even covering and discussing this case, it's almost as if Karmelo Anthony is the victim. And that's just what his family wants. That's just what the people who support Karmelo want. They want people to look at him as the victim. Never mind everything else. But when you just look at this case from like a legal perspective, and you put all of the racist, hateful stuff that certain portions of the black community are spreading online, when you take that and put it to the side, and you just look at this case from a legal perspective, I do think that this case is somewhat interesting. I would like to see how this case plays out in court. Some people are making the argument that this is self-defense. Now, personally, I don't think that's the case, but I'm not sure how the law will view the situation in Texas because I'm no expert on Texas law. But when I look at this from a moral standpoint, I don't think that this is self-defense. When I look at this from a legal standpoint, like I said, I'm no expert, but often in self-defense cases, you have to prove that, the amount of force that you used was justified. Was your life in danger? You know what I mean? Was your life in so much danger that you felt the need to kill someone? Was this justified? You know what I mean? That's often what you have to prove in self-defense cases. Did you use a reasonable amount of force to defend yourself? But also, it's illegal to have a weapon at a school track meet. So I'm wondering, what factor will that play in this situation? Will they make any self-defense claims null and void because you already broke the law by being here with a weapon in the first place? It looks like you're looking for trouble to me. So I'm not sure how those things are going to play out. But I do feel like I know how everything's going to turn out in the long run because I don't think that we're necessarily going to get a fair trial here. I really don't. And I'll tell you why in just a moment. But first, people often ask me, how can they support the channel? The answer to that question is very simple. It's free. All you got to do is hit the like button. We got to get the likes up on these videos. Drop a comment below. Join the conversation. Both of those things are totally free and they help the channel. But if you want to take your support one step further, you could always send a super thanks or a Cash App. It's always greatly appreciated. But the reason why I don't think we're going to get a fair trial here is because the Karmelo Anthony family, they're already showing their hand. We've seen situations like this one before. I already know where this is going. And if you've been watching my channel, at least since the beginning of my coverage on this story, I've already called out everything that's happened so far. So what's going to happen is the Austin Metcalf's family, They're going to sit by silently like they've been doing. All of the crazy, racist, hateful stuff being spread about their son online, they're probably not going to address it at all. And what's going to happen is the side that's supporting Karmelo, they're going to be the dominant voice online because people don't want to deal with the ignorance. People don't want to confront the ignorance. People don't even want to acknowledge the ignorance exists. So they're going to be the ones screaming the loudest, playing the victims. They're going to send the message that, hey, if Karmelo gets found guilty, we're going to riot. We're going to protest. We're going to burn down the city if Karmelo gets found guilty. They're going to send the message that, hey, if you're on the jury and you find a guilty verdict, you might not be safe. They're going to intimidate the jury. They're going to intimidate law enforcement. They'll intimidate the judge. They'll intimidate the entire area with threats of unrest and what have you. And you're not going to get a fair trial when you have something like that looming over. You're going to have the Black Lives Matter organization. You're going to have the NAACP. Reverend Jesse Jackson will come out of his crypt. All of these usual race baiters are going to attach themselves to the story. We've already seen a few of them come out. They're going to attach themselves to this story, and they're going to turn it into an entire whirlwind while Austin Metcalf's family basically probably doesn't really say much at all. And that's how the situation's going to play out. I don't think that he'll even be found guilty. I think they're going to let him off because of the pressure. Now, I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong, but I do think that's going to be the case here. Now, some people are saying that, Karmelo should get the death penalty and all of these other things as well, and I don't think that can happen. In fact, the DA from this area was recently speaking out, and I want you guys to hear what he has to say for yourself, and let me know what you think, and then I'll be right back with more thoughts.
It's the fatal stabbing that has left a community shaken and divided. For the first time since a Frisco High School track meet turned deadly, Collin County DA Greg Willis is speaking out.
It's not unusual in the aftermath of a crime for there to be a lot of publicity about it.
And this case has sparked deep tension. 17-year-old Karmelo Anthony charged with murder in the death of Austin Metcalf. Willis says his office hasn't received the case yet, but concerns have been raised about whether the case will be tried outside of Collin County.
Ultimately, that'll be a judge's decision to make at the time of trial. But yes, I want it here. This happened in Collin County. I want Collin County citizens to be able to decide this.
While one family mourns a loss,
my son is not here anymore, and I don't understand it.
Meanwhile, Anthony's family is facing their own challenges.
Their personal address has been exposed. They have received graphic and racist threats.
Monday morning, the judge will decide whether or not Anthony's bond will be reduced. Willis says Karmelo won't face the death penalty.
That would not be something that we could do even if we wanted to.
That's because of the Supreme Court's ruling on the 2005 case Roper versus Simmons, which banned the death penalty for youth who were convicted of murder before they turned 18. While the investigation into the stabbing unfolds, Metcalf's funeral is this weekend. In Collin County, I'm Adriana De Alba.
So there you have it, folks. The death penalty and other things that people are floating around, it's simply not going to happen. In fact, if he's found guilty, and if he is, people are going to throw a fit. But if he's found guilty, I believe he'll do 5 to 10 years max with some probation. He'll basically get a slap on the wrist. I can guarantee you that. Now, if the roles were reversed, but we don't really deal with, if the roles were reversed talk, because I feel like that's an indirect way to kind of acknowledge a problem that we should be directly acknowledging. But online right now, I see people trying to compare this case to other cases that we've seen before. And I see a lot of comparisons to the Kyle Rittenhouse case. Because for some reason, people look at the Karmelo Anthony case and they view it in the same light that they view the Kyle Rittenhouse case. And for the life of me, I don't understand. And I feel like anyone that is doing that is being disingenuous. I feel like they're kind of being sneaky and dishonest, and they're being indirect about their true feelings and how they really feel, or what they're really trying to say. Because when looking at these two cases, they are so totally different. Now, some people won't like this, but I will always say that, yeah, Kyle Rittenhouse probably shouldn't have been out there. As a parent, I wouldn't take my child out to a situation like that one. But if we're going to argue about people who shouldn't have been out there when Kyle Rittenhouse was out there, we have to acknowledge that there are hundreds, if not thousands, of other people who had no business being out there. So if we're going to talk about people having no business being out there, I think we should focus on the people who are burning down the city as opposed to the people who are trying to protect the city. Now, looking at this case, Kyle Rittenhouse was literally attacked and chased down by a violent, angry mob. Okay? They were attacking him with skateboards. One person took a gun out and was about to shoot him before he got his forearm blown completely off, deservedly. Half the people who were attacking Kyle Rittenhouse turned out to be chomos, kitty diddlers, all types of stuff. So when looking at that case and I see a 17-year-old man that is literally being chased through the streets by an armed, violent mob who has already attacked him and are trying to attack him again, I view that and I say, hey, how in the freak can we compare this to a 17-year-old that someone asked to move out of a certain area on the bleachers? An unarmed child asked another child to move out of a seat because he was sitting in the wrong section. And for some reason, I don't know why, we know why, for some reason people view that in the same light as the Kyle Rittenhouse case. So you mean to tell me that a 17-year-old unarmed kid at a high school track meet telling another kid to, hey, you can't sit here because this is our school section, that's the same as a 17-year-old kid being chased through the streets by an angry mob that's trying to kill him? So the comparisons, there is no comparison. And the fact that people would try to make that argument, I feel like it's phony and fake. Like what you're really trying to do is you're really trying to defend Karmelo Anthony without directly saying it. And what you're really trying to do, or the reason you feel this way, is probably because maybe an animosity towards Kyle Rittenhouse, maybe because of his skin color or something along those lines. It has to be something, because you can't look at these cases and say, oh, these are just alike. The kid who was asked to move out of a school section on the bleachers, that's the same as this angry mob beating and attacking a young child and pulling out a gun on him, trying to blast him in the middle of the street. It's exactly the same, folks. So that's what I talk about when I say whataboutisms. The fact that people, even people who will acknowledge, hey, what Karmelo did was wrong. Even people who will acknowledge things like that, if they have to hit you with the whataboutisms, then you know they're not just being 100% pure. People may say what they think people want to hear online. They'll say what will get them in the least amount of trouble or the least amount of pushback. But if you have to bring whataboutisms into a story about a child being stabbed in the chest at a track meet, then you're just not being fully honest. So the whataboutism, Kyle Rittenhouse, that you could just throw that totally out of the window. Because anyone with common sense can see the differences there. And I think most of the people comparing can see the differences there. But hey, it is what it is. This case is going to get even crazier. There's videos. There's already a huge divide forming over it. And we're just going to see how this thing plays out. But for now, you guys let me know your thoughts about this down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe, ring that notification bell, and I'll talk to you all very soon in the next one.